Hello Linux fans, Rob here and welcome to Linux Quest. Thanks for watching. So today I've got something really different. About 2 weeks ago I had an opportunity to install Linux on my wife's laptop. Now we did not install Linux alongside Windows 10. We completely wiped Windows 10 and installed Ubuntu Mate on there. Now, my wife is a teacher and she uses her laptop for real work in her classroom, and I figured that 2 weeks was enough time to really allow her to get a feel for Linux and to be able to answer some questions. Now, I have a series of questions for her that she hasn't yet seen. She hasn't rehearsed answers or anything like that. She's going to give us her honest opinion. And while she decided she didn't want to be a Linux Quest star and be on video, she has agreed to the Q&A session, so I appreciate that. Hopefully this will help someone out there who's considering Linux as an alternate OS, or maybe their Windows 10 update slowed their system down, or maybe they've got issues with another operating system. And so hopefully this will help and it'll be informative. And so we're going to jump in with a series of questions. You'll see a slideshow so that you'll be able to follow along with the questions. All right, so we'll jump right in. Okay, so the hardware that has Ubuntu Mate installed is a pretty basic Dell 14-inch laptop with an Intel Celeron processor, 4 gigs of RAM, and a mediocre at best 250 gig hard drive. So we've got a series of questions here for my wife, Jen. Say hello.
Hi.
And again, she has not seen these questions. This is the first time. So I'm going to start off with just asking you, have you ever used Linux prior to 2 weeks ago when we installed it?
Never.
What made you decide to give Linux a try?
Well, really, it was your suggestion. I'd had such a hard time with my Windows operating system doing some weird things that you said, let's just try this and see what you think. And I said, okay.
All right. You had faith in me. So how far has so far, how has the stability been for you? Have you experienced any system crashes or freezes or anything like that?
I have not. And one of the issues I had been having really had to do with my hardware, just the computer being so slow, taking a long time to boot up, a long time to change between the software application. So this has been nice. It hasn't experienced those problems. It's been quicker to use.
So that was Windows 10 you were having those issues with, and I will say, because I was kind of a maintainer of Windows 10 for her laptop, we would get these giant updates, and sometimes, and you tell me here, but I think the last update we did took something like an hour or something like that. Is that right?
It did, and after that update, my computer was just so slow. It would take minutes and minutes to turn on. So you actually had encouraged me to stop turning it off, to put it into sleep mode instead of shut down, because it took so long to reboot. And that was one of the things that this version of Linux has fixed. It boots up a lot quicker.
All right, very good. So we'll move on here. So what software are you using the most on Ubuntu Mate right now?
Well, I teach high school English and psychology. So really the software that I use the most has to do with word processing. Right now I'm using the LibreOffice and the WPS Writer, and I really haven't found much of a difference between the two. They're both functioning pretty well with the software that that I'm used to using, the Microsoft Word, because I'm able to pull in the other tests, other lecture notes, other PowerPoints that I had already created in the past, and still I'm able to print those and hand those out without having to reconfigure anything. That's been a treat. I really wasn't expecting that.
So for your email and that kind of thing, are you doing that through your browser, or is that your preferred method? I think you're currently using Chrome. Is that right?
I do use Chrome for email, and I use Mozilla for some specific software that I have to use for work. We use RenWeb for our student support. That's how I have to log in my class attendance and how I have to log in my lesson plans and do other communications with students and parents through RenWeb, and that really functions better on Firefox. So I use that, but I'm also using Chrome for Turnitin, which is one of the resources that we use for submitting homework and checking homework that the students have done that are literature-based papers, and then also I'm using Chrome for my email servers.
What are you using for file storage as far as cloud related? Because I really don't recall if it's Dropbox primarily that you use or if you're using some other cloud storage.
I have 3 different accounts that I use, and depending on what I'm looking for, it may be in any of those 3. Primarily, I use OneDrive, and I have some shared folders through the school that where we store some OneDrive account, or where we store shared lesson plans and tests and different things. But I also have a Google Drive that I use where I have stored some specific types of information in the past, like some of the things that we do for our drama publication. It's easier to share that through Google Docs with the printers and the different publication offices that we've used. So I have OneDrive, Google Docs, and of course, we still have Dropbox, which we use more for our personal information than OneDrive.
And all of that's worked fine within Linux?
It's working fine. Wouldn't know there's a difference.
All right, so we'll move on to the next question here. So what issues have you had with any of the software in Ubuntu Mate that you have been using? I think you mentioned that you're using WPS Office and LibreOffice. Have you had specific issues with the software? And I'm not talking about the OS itself, but just the software that you're using within Linux.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure I know the difference between the operating system and the software, but I'll tell you with LibreOffice and WPS, the only real issue that I've had is that the first time I tried to save something in LibreOffice, I got a kind of a weird pop-up, or it looked weird to me, that was asking me to do something in a different type of file. I think it was an ODF file as opposed to saving it in Word. And I did save it that way, but I wasn't able to go back and find it. So you tried to help me find that file. We really couldn't find it. And it just made me kind of remember how I have to teach all my students. You always know where you save something. So I don't know if that was a software issue or just a Jennifer issue, that I didn't know where I had saved that test and I had to rewrite it. Other things have just been, making sure that that as I'm opening things and saving things, that I'm saving them in formats that I know will be not only, I know where it is, but also compatible with other laptops that I may need to use, or the printer service that we use at school, so that I'm not getting any kickbacks, or my margins all look the same the way that I've saved them as opposed to how things are printing at school. And it hasn't been a big deal.
Very good. Are there things in Ubuntu Mate that you like better than Windows 10?
I definitely like the fact that it's booting up quicker. I am spending a lot less time just kind of waiting. And so that's great, especially delivering lesson plans. I need to be able to log in, pull down maybe a PowerPoint file that I've saved on our school shared file that has to do with a lesson, and go ahead and deliver that lesson without having to wait several minutes, or without having to go in. I also have to share a classroom, so I don't actually have time before I start teaching in the morning to go in and start opening files just to click and use later. So that's been really helpful, the fact that I can count on those things working quicker with speed. The one thing that I haven't liked as much really had to do also kind of with the speed, but I had gotten in the habit of just putting my laptop to sleep instead of actually shutting it down because speed was an issue. And so the one time I tried to do that with running the Linux, I don't think it ever actually went to sleep. It said it was in suspend mode, but it ran the battery dead. I think it just completely kept running until I noticed it. And when I got my laptop out of my bag, the laptop was warm. So I think that instead of it going to sleep, it continued to run. So I've been just shutting it down when I'm through using it for whatever reason. And it's a quick boot up, so it's not been an issue.
Well, maybe that answers this next question. Not really. So are there things in Windows 10 that you really miss?
I really haven't missed anything. And again, I'm not somebody who knows a lot about what if it works the way I want it to, it's fine. And it's been working the way I want it to. I haven't seen a problem with running PowerPoint presentations. I haven't seen a problem with pulling up or utilizing some of the lecture things that I use, like SlideShare, or even showing some students, maybe Netflix clips or things on SparkNotes. All of that's worked fine for me. So if there's anything, I haven't noticed anything that I'm missing. It's working good.
Very good. And next question, would you consider trying another Linux distribution other than Ubuntu Mate? And since I do videos, you've been exposed, whether you like it or not, to various distributions, but is that something you would even consider, or are you just happy with what you have?
I would definitely consider using different operating systems. Again, I'm not even sure that I knew that what I was doing was running Linux operating system. It just has been kind of seamless as I've used the laptop for the last several weeks. So if you can change it and make it continue to work just as seamlessly as it has, I'll be glad to try whatever you want me to try.
That's cool. That's very cool. And so do you currently have a desire to go back to Windows?
Have no need to go back to Windows. And one of the things that I didn't like about Windows is I was getting so many pop-ups about updates and different things, especially the last couple of months, that it was irritating a little bit. I haven't had any of those issues, so I'm not having to worry about installing new updates, or is it going to work well after it installs an update. So thanks for taking care of that for me.
All right, folks. So I'm going to ask her this question one more time. I want to be clear to everyone out there. So do you currently have a desire to go back to Windows?
I do not have a desire to go back to Windows, and everything that I have that I need to use is working fine. So there's no need to change unless you just want me to change for some reason.
So there you have it. I think that's the last question. Oh, nope. Here we go. We've got one more. What would you say to someone who is considering Linux as a replacement of their current OS?
Go for it. Remember that Google is your friend also. There was one other thing I forgot to mention, and that actually had to do with my connecting another device to my laptop. That was when I couldn't get the projector to show what I wanted it to show. So, that was a quick little, how do you connect your laptop using Linux? And Google told me, just change your resolution from whatever it was automatically just set for to the resolution that would be compatible with my projector. So make sure that you remember, if you're changing something, to Google those questions if you have a need to figure something out pretty quickly.
And I've got to add that I have been very proud of my wife, that she has over the years gone from not really digging into settings and things like that, to where she has on her own discovered a lot and been able to share that with other people. And so that's always a good thing. So I appreciate you guys following along here. I hope that this is helpful to someone. I know it's a little different from typical Linux reviews, but I just felt like that this was an opportunity to really get straightforward answers from someone who, again, has never used Linux before and uses uses their laptop every day in a classroom environment for real work. It's not just someone who's just browsing the web and could honestly just use a tablet if that's the case, but it's someone who relies on their OS for real day in, day out work. And so hopefully this helps, and we appreciate you watching Linux Quest. And do you have anything else?
One more thing that I forgot to mention a minute ago, or actually you didn't ask me about this, but it's the coolest thing. I had a meeting a couple of days ago to learn how they've changed the system of how we actually assign rooms at the school. So if I want to use the computer lab, I have to go on a certain calendar and assign it in a certain way and invite people a certain way. And so our IT guy was trying to show me how to do this, and he sat down with my laptop and he's like, "What are you running? I've never seen this." I felt pretty proud that day to be able to say, "It's Linux." And he said, "Why are you running Linux?" And I said, "Because I'm pretty smart like this."
So good answer. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your Saturday to have this Q&A session. And I'll just have one more question for you. Did I pay you to do this?
No.
So there you have it. All right. Well, thanks for watching, Linux fans, and we will check you later.